Well, I wanted to give you guys an update on where I am with Polar. And also, I need your feedback, honestly. I'm kind of stuck on some things with regards to user interface and how to deal with flashcards and possibly sync them with Anki. And just, I've been working on sort of refactoring the way we do annotations for some new features. And I kind of just wanted to give you guys an update and also try to get your feedback. I really need the feedback. It's really difficult to sort of build an application uh, without sort of community feedback and so forth. It's really valuable. So when you open Polar, the first thing you have is a document repository, and we've been banging out releases. And the last release added some really nice features. We added a last updated column. The timestamps are pretty printed. And so, backing up just a second, the general idea is that you put all of your books and web content into Polar, and then you can read them and you can keep track of your progress and so forth. So you can sort by last updated now, which is nice. So if you're actually actively working on it, it'll bump these up, and you can sort by the time it was added, and also your reading progress. And then you can do things like hide hide archived documents. So archived documents are documents that you don't want to read anymore, and you can also flag them. So there's like two levels of priority. So archived means you really don't want it, and flagged means you're really interested in it. So um, if you put those two on, there's only I only have sort of a few documents that I'm reading, but usually what I do is I flag documents that are they take a long time to read, like a white paper or something. Other than that, I don't really flag things. And then the other major feature that we added was tagging. So in order to tag something, let's just add something I added recently. So I added this about Python, and I already had tagged it Python. So let's just add another one here called Unicode. So I just added this other one called Unicode, and they're automatically saved. You don't have to do anything. And then to filter them, you can just go up here to tags at the top, and we can filter on deep learning, or we could, and they're and queries, so by default. So we can filter on Java, and we can do multiple tags here. So let's see here. Let's do this. Let's do Google. Oh, I know I have a Google there. Well, of course, it's got to make a liar of me within the demo, but I think it no. Anyway, it does support multiple tags. I just don't remember the two of the tags that I have offhand. Then you can clear this, and it goes back. And so that's sort of the document management, the document repository, and that's sort of not the part I'm stuck with. The part I'm stuck with is annotations. So, um, you know, the whole thing for me is that it would be nice to actually have all your documents in one place and be able to annotate them. So I'm going to close this one. Actually, been working on this one for Firebase. Let's see, probably this one. Okay, well maybe this is it. But so it's not enabled by default, but you can just go up to toggle annotation bar at the top, and you have this nice little sidebar. So while you're reading, if you want to highlight something, you can just go over to it and you can highlight it. You just go like that, and you get a little pop-up. And I'm just gonna make this one green for whatever reason, and it shows up here on the right. And you can see that the text is actually in the document is actually highlighted, and you actually have the text extracted and saved here. And the biggest features in the last two releases are comments. And so I could just type in here a comment like "This is awesome," typos and everything, and it automatically saves it. And I added the input for this. I haven't implemented the rendering, but this is actually where I need your help. So the flashcards, you get front and back like you do normally with Anki, and I'm sort of stuck on this one because the issue is that Anki and other flashcard systems have different ways to sort of view flashcards. They have the front and back, and then they have um, the closed deletions. And so I'm stuck because you could have you know, any type of input here could be valid for, people's flashcards because they could have dozens of fields and so forth. So, I mean, I guess I could build out a whole plugin system for that, but that's kind of complicated. So I'm really stuck. I think that just for the next release, I'm just going to have to support closed deletions and front and back. So this whole system has been re-updated, and I'm reworking it. Really close to release candidate. So, um, I would like your feedback on this. This is sort of the part I'm stuck with. Is like how to manage flashcards. Um, is the sidebar enough? You know, if I just do the sidebar, is that enough for the flashcards? I don't really know. So, like for example, if the flashcards are enough, then I don't need a dedicated app for managing the notes in the flashcards. But if they're not, maybe I need to build like a document repository for the flashcards that's sort of a clone of the document repository, but it's sort of only for your notes and your notes and your comments and your flashcards and so forth. And then you can just manage them all there. Yeah, it's sort of a tough one. And then the other thing it's been kind of nice in this release is that capture. So one of the things that's actually nice um, about Polar is that it actually supports really good web capture of documents. So it supports PDFs. So let me show you what PDFs are like. So you can also filter on the title. So I gotta clear that tag, and then the Bitcoin paper is the one I've sort of been annotating willy-nilly here. So it loads it, and then this is one I've been actively working on. And these blue highlights are page marks. These are pages that I've read. Polar keeps track of them, and it keeps track of your progress up there at the top. And then you can see all the extractions. So the annotation systems works the same whether or not it is a PDF or a web document. And so capturing has been really updated in most recent releases. Capturing is the process of actually storing a web page local. So actually, we can just type in any arbitrary URL. This is actually a little browser. I don't know. I just picked something on TechCrunch. And actually, let's just use news.y Combinator. Hacker News. That should be a good one. Java. That's interesting. Okay, so I'm just going to pick one. This one. And then, it basically renders the document in line. You can see the whole document. And the other cool thing is that some documents actually don't render on every browser. So I have it so you could basically change the browser type. So if you want a bigger browser, you can do that. And you see how the page reshifted? That's because we're emulating different types of browsers. But the problem with emulating large browsers is that it's not really a document. See all this white space over here? I don't really like that for actual reading purposes. So, it's kind of nice to simulate a smaller document. And when you do that, it actually becomes a, more manageable, easy to read. You can read it straight down. And then you can actually just hit this capture button at the top right, and it will save it into the repository. And then, you can go back here, and you can see it's added a few seconds ago. And you have the whole document. And then, of course, you could just pop up the annotation bar. There's no annotations because I just added it. But, we could just create one, add another one, and then there it is in the annotation bar. So I'm still stuck on this. I don't know the right way to implement the flashcards perfectly. So, once you've got the flashcards in, you can just hit sync, and it pops up this dialog box, and then syncs it to Anki. I think having a separate window is kind of silly. I think I might pop it up in line here or something, so you can see that it was synced. The other thing I think I want to do is every time you create a flashcard, automatically sync. And then the next big wave of Polar. So I want to get a release candidate done like next week, and the next big feature that I'm shipping is I'm going to After the release candidate is done, I'm sure everybody will have feedback of what new features we need. But the other big thing I want to do is Firebase support and Cloud Sync. So I want the ability so that Polar runs on all platforms, Linux, Mac, and Windows, and so I have a Mac literally sitting next to me right now, and it would be nice to sync it transparently. And Firebase is really nice because it supports real-time event sync. So it's kind of like chat in a way, in that if you modify that, if you upload something, it'll immediately get synced to your other machine. So it supports real-time sync, and the pricing is not that crazy. So I think for a few bucks we could have, for like a few bucks we could probably have a couple gigs per user. That's fine. Just $2-3 a month, and then you get multi-device sync. And then the other thing that's going to be really nice is that I get browser integration with this. Is that since I now have a little bit of cloud integration, I can easily build a Chrome extension that syncs into it, which would be really nice because you could just click a button and then it would automatically just pop up into Polar and serve it. And then maybe some sort of web interface for these, so for your annotations, so you could have your own page on the web, and you could highlight something, add a comment, and it automatically just gets synced to that and pushed out. So you get like a little blog while you're reading, and it just makes it easy to uh, to make your comments about something that you're reading known. And then the other thing is that we could maybe build some social functionality, so that way you could add other users or find people that read the same similar things and follow them. And automatically get their comments and flashcards shared with you. So that way, if you load up a Bitcoin book, the Bitcoin white paper, and other people have been annotating and adding flashcards, then you could get their flashcards automatically imported, and actually maybe even vote on the quality of the cards. But since we have some sort of shared cloud infrastructure to support this based on Firebase, then what ends up happening is that we can continually up rank and improve the quality of the flashcards over time. So that's where Polar is. I'd really love some feedback. I think the feedback is the key. You guys have been really great on Discord and Reddit about evaluating it. We've got we were on Hacker News. I just mentioned it in passing. I haven't even really announced Polar yet, but already we've gotten really great feedback. The one thing I do need, if you guys are on Windows, please install it. Unfortunately, right now I can't get our code signing cert that we need for Windows isn't yet valid isn't yet approved via Microsoft, and so it's in this weird purgatory, and you have to just click on more info, and then you have to say install anyway, and it'll install for you. It's just a warning because Microsoft hasn't yet determined that the vendor for Polar is reputable, so they just need people to install it. So if you could install it, that would really be helping us out a lot. Also, if you could give it an up rank on GitHub, that would be killer. All right, thanks guys. Bye.